between President Macron and President Ramaphosa. And if you could check the rapport between President Ramaphosa and President Macron is very strong because of that work that Ambassador Mtetwa was doing between the two heads of states and in between the two countries.
Former Seychelles Parliament Speaker Patrick Hermini defeated President Wavel Ramkalawan in a runoff election. This victory restores full control of the archipelago nation's government to its long-time ruling party. Hermini's win with 52.7% of the vote follows his United Seychelles Party's triumph in the first round of the general election last month when it reclaimed the majority in Parliament that it lost in 2015. Seychelles is Africa's largest country per capita, located across 1.2 million square meters in the West Indian Ocean and a prime tourist destination. And finally, friends and relatives of the Israeli hostages have been holding an overnight vigil in central Tel Aviv as they await news about their release. Under the terms of the Gaza ceasefire, Hamas has agreed to free the remaining hostages by midday today. The BBC's Yolandi Nell has the details.
Through the night, well-wishers, some carrying Israeli flags, have been waiting for news in Hostages Square. Under the terms of the ceasefire agreement, all 20 living hostages should now be released to the Red Cross. Israel is set to release about 2,000 Palestinian detainees. They include 250 prisoners serving life sentences, as well as about 1,700 seized from Gaza during the war and held without charge. An Israeli official said that an international task force would start work to locate the remains of dead hostages who aren't returned within 72 hours.
Recapping the top story this hour, the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry in South Africa says it expects that there will be some opposition to a request for some evidence to be given in camera. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo Wepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Hey, happy Monday to you and yours. It's another beautiful work week this Monday morning. And of course, we are in the best place to be, the place where we really affirm who we are as African people, even if we're not on the continent. So if you're on the continent, if you're in the diaspora or anywhere else in the world, we welcome you into this incredible family. This is Channel Africa. Thank you for Peter Ndoro for starting off our morning here on Channel Africa with Africa Rise and Shine. It's now 6 minutes past 9 Central Africa time, and it's time for On the Move with me, Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama. Happy Monday, Benji.
Hey man, you seem happy that it's a Monday today.
I am happy. I'm happy that we're here, and I'm happy for the week.
You describe Monday as beautiful, Pali.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Not all of us need to now find out what Pali had for the weekend.
Tap in, Benji. Tap in. We're here. We're ready, and of course, Mondays should be fabulous. Taking a look at the conversations we'll be having today on the Move, kickstarting that with our gender-based violence focus that continues, of course. And there's always so many ways to look at the conversation of gender-based violence because there are so many contributing factors to this really terrible phenomenon that we're experiencing all across the world, and especially here on the African continent. We are living in a more global environment. That means that, even as Africans, we're moving through different countries, different spaces, different continents, sometimes through migration, but other times through displacement. And sometimes those who are displaced and asylum seekers bear the brunt of gender-based violence through different abuses that they have to, unfortunately, be victims of.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be looking at today, looking at how we are affected when it comes to gender-based violence in periods of migration, or how those who are asylum seekers also are at vulnerability at times because of that migration. But then in our the African View debate, we've got such an interesting conversation. There's been a debate that's been happening on social media. We've had an off-air debate that's been happening between our technical team and our on-air presenters around traditional attire and who should wear it.
Yeah.
Especially after that situation where there was a gay couple. One was wearing Xhosa traditional attire.
Yeah.
The other one was wearing Zulu attire. And there was a big debate from a regiment in the Zulu culture that said,
Well, it wasn't a regiment. It was an individual.
yeah, but yeah.
Who passed on a lot
Yeah, but
of
he's a
hate
leader of a
speech.
regiment.
Well, not really. He's not a leader of a regiment.
Who
he
is that
just,
guy?
So he is someone who used to be a broadcaster, a media personality,
Okay.
who just has a large
Oh,
following
really?
of his own.
Because I thought the way he was speaking, he was a traditional leader, right?
No.
But anyway, this guy, he was saying, hey, people who are from the LGBTQ plus community must not wear traditional attire. And we're like, is that true? And what's the case? So today we're going to be debating that, but from a different perspective. Should traditional attire be reserved only for those who live by traditional customs? What's your take on that? We'll start the conversation on social media a little bit later on.
Very interesting one indeed. We wrap up with our nutrition and fitness corner as usual. And today we're speaking about the benefits of weightlifting for women if you are going into exercise, right? It's not just for those who are trying to look ripped, but we'll hear what the benefits and impacts of this are. So come in, join us, www.channelafrica.co.za, DSTV 802, OpenView 68, and the SABC Plus app. But of course, our socials as well.
Yeah, WhatsApp number is +27634069126. Engage. Let's go. We've got 3 hours to go.
Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa, the right music all the time. On Channel Africa, the African perspective. Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa 1. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa 1. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
We continue with the important conversations around gender-based violence here on The Move and all across the SABC right here where we're broadcasting from. And across borders and continents, thousands of women embark on journeys in search of safety, work and belonging. For many, migration is shadowed by unseen risks, right? Exploitation might take place, isolation and gender-based violence that transcends geography. So we're exploring how displacement and inequality intersect the shape of experiences of African migrants and asylum seekers. We're also going to be delving into the structural and social factors that enable abuse and the resilience, of course, of survivors on the African continent and the collective efforts working toward the protection of these individuals. Joining us on today's gender-based violence focus on The Move is Rhoda Modenda, a community builder, a member of the African Diaspora Forum, and she's worked with migrant women at the Usindiso non-profit organization which ran a shelter to rehabilitate and provide support for abused women. Rhoda, thank you so much for joining us this morning. How are you? Good morning.
I'm fine, thank you, and good morning to all the listeners. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's good to have you this morning. It's a very important conversation that we're about to have together right now. And for someone who's worked, around the landscape of the diaspora and around the landscape of migration, we know that people, and especially women all across the continent, do migrate for various reasons. Let's speak about some of those reasons that you have seen or you have explored.
Actually, from the experience that I've seen on the African continent, either our people migrate because of economical benefits that they hear from mouth to mouth, or maybe they observe somebody actually having made their money by migrating, or they will have this problem of mutilation, the genital mutilation. I'm sure you know about it, that there are some countries where people are threatened by that. Or maybe conflict, you remember the Rwanda genocide, where tribal people actually fight and people have to leave their own areas. And sometimes, even when maybe somebody has been married in an abusive marriage and they feel they want to go away, the only unfortunate thing is we don't have research written where people can actually just go and sit down and find out, if I migrate to such a country, what do I need and how do I get there? So those are the areas of migration that are common.
Yeah.
Religious, marriage, economical, and traditional issues.
Now, sometimes, depending on the reasons of your migration, there could be a higher risk for your abuse, especially, when you speak about some of the things surrounding your leaving from one area to another. Some of the ones that you mentioned, maybe, being thrown out through marriage and now you have to migrate, economical reasons, war, etc. Many people, and especially women, do not have a proper plan before migration, because the reason for migration makes it quite urgent to move. How does that impact, the high, the high chances of abuse to take place if you don't have a plan of your migration and it's happening quite suddenly, quite quickly?
Let me remind you that there was one part of people's talk where we always assured each other to say, when you are going on a mission, do not look on the bad side of it.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing you had to look at is if I'm in this abusive marriage, how do I get out of here? And where I'm going, things will be better. So you don't even look at the bad side of how do you get there. As long as you can be able to afford a passport, then you move on. But mostly, some people would not even want to look at the issue of the passport. The only thing is they will look for is what kind of mode of transport can I be able to use from here. And from that very mode of transport starts the abuse. Because in most of the countries in Africa, if there are people that travel, it's actually the truck drivers.
Yeah, and so that's probably where you begin to be vulnerable as a woman. But it's not just women themselves. Some women actually carry their children with them, right, on a journey. And that compounds even the vulnerability, because they're not just responsible for themselves, but also for their children.
Yes, but you see, at the same time, we came to a level where from people actually wanting to migrate on their own, there came this situation where human traffickers also now have come in. They will go to an area and give people stories to say, if you came with me to such a country, you'll be able to make a better life. Not knowing they already have a market wherever they are taking them to, either for prostitution or for further trafficking to other countries. That's how complicated it has now become. Mm-hmm. So that issue of just being assisted by a truck driver, maybe to cross a border and get from country to country, has now been added up by those that actually participate in human trafficking. They enter a country and incite people to come along with them, and those are more dangerous because sometimes they'll carry the whole family.
And yeah, and let's talk about that element of also, how dangers are so compounded when you also have the responsibility of traveling with children.
Dangers getting the danger becomes even much higher when you have children, because as a mother traveling with children, if you have this truck driver, you personally probably we don't have the culture of saving.
Mm-hmm.
So we can even embark on a journey without having any money in a bank account, without even having any money saved. Probably you've only got a few cents that you think would actually get you water or something like that on the way. Or now you start depending on this person who is giving you a lift, if it's a truck driver, that they will feed you on the way. So out of that, abuse starts. If the mother is lucky, probably the truck driver might be interested in the mother. If the mother has children, the driver might insist on getting one of the children to use as a sex slave as they are being transported. So after they've crossed borders, when you arrive in a country where you have not researched, you don't even know whether there are shelters, whether there are bus stops where you can sleep, where there are safe havens where you can stay. And it's not automatic that when you've crossed the border, you get a job. Even if you got a job, you won't be paid the same day.
Yeah, there are a lot of effects there. I want us to come back from a break. We are going to take a break, Rhoda, right now, but speak about some of the most common abuses faced by, asylum seekers, faced by migrants, especially when they are already in the new country. But I mean, you've just mentioned some of them, about on their journey before they even reach their new country, there might have already been several abuses that they have been able to take. But we'll also need to speak about social structures that maybe are in place or need to be put in place to protect these vulnerable people from gender-based violence and other abuses. 20 minutes past 9 Central Africa time. We'll continue speaking to Rhoda Mudenda, member of the African Diaspora Forum, on this matter after the break.
Call us on +27 63 406 9126.
I can see my whole world changing.
And contribute to the conversation. Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you'll be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. 9 to 12 midday, Central African time. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
21 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African time. This is Channel Africa, and we continue our SABC gender-based violence campaign today. And I've been startled since we started this campaign at how gender-based violence manifests itself in our societies in multiple ways. And today we're exploring something that's also concerning. The fact that in migration we're seeing unseen risks, exploitation, isolation, and gender-based violence that transcends geography. We're speaking to Rhoda Mudenda, who's a member of the African Diaspora Forum. But she's not just a researcher, she's not someone who's just going to speak to us from an academic perspective. She's right there on the ground, working with women who are affected by such issues. In fact, she worked with migrant women at the Isindiso NPO, which ran a shelter to rehabilitate and provide support for abused women. Rhoda, let's unpack this a little bit more. you highlighted economic exploitation, physical exploitation, but there's also an invisible exploitation that we hardly see during migration, which is labor exploitation. And I think it's related to the gender-based violence issue. And sometimes we separate it because we do think it's not related. But, that exploitation makes it very much difficult for women to sustain themselves, to be able to live lives where they can protect themselves, get the right shelter, be independent to a large degree. Am I wrong to include the labor issue in this discussion?
No, you are not, because actually the labor is even more complex because it affects both men and women. People that have arrived in certain countries where they don't have the ability or they don't have the education, where they have actually been they've crossed the border because they already have a job. They might end up in exploiters of labor who take away their passport and keep them in their backyard and make them work, or in their workshop and make them work with minimal wages, not even allowed to walk out, not even allowed to survey the area where they are. So that one actually affects both men and women.
We've heard so many of these stories, haven't we? I mean, even here in South Africa, we've heard so many stories. A house where so many migrants were found, essentially becoming part of like a human trafficking ring. We've also heard it in places like the Middle East, where, people's passports are taken away when they come into work as migrants. And women are also particularly susceptible because even in this labor, abuse, there is added sexual abuses that are likely to take place in those environments because you do not have any rights. And I want us to focus on the rights themselves, because migrants who are going into a country they don't know, of course, they're asylum seekers, they're not really sure what goes on in that country. Because they don't know much about the laws of that country, does that make them more susceptible to their rights being neglected and their rights being taken away? Who is responsible to take care of the rights of these asylum seekers and migrants?
The unfortunate thing on the African continent, we have not actually pinpointed who is responsible. We don't know whether your country of origin is supposed to be responsible or the country you are going to. But as from my point of view, in my opinion, I would think personally, your safety should be something that you should be able to research for. You see, like right now, the world has become much easier. I come from the BBC before computers, born before computers. So from our BBC, we had it was mouth to mouth. You listen to people, what they will tell you,
Sure.
wherever you want to go to. But right now, my advice is that when you have that phone, go to Google, check on Meta, go to chat. They will tell you, because all that research now is much easier. You can easily find it on those websites and be able to learn. But you see, unfortunately, we still have that culture of where we don't want to read. And because we don't want to read, the information that is even put in that phone of yours, it might be an iPhone. If we don't use it, we end up in a situation where somebody has crossed the border, gets to Park Station, for example, in South Africa. Some woman comes all the way from Katlehong, picks them up, takes them to a brothel, takes away their passport, they are dragged, kept in there, they become sex slaves.
Yeah.
If it's somebody who's got a factory, they take them to that factory. They don't even know which direction they've been taken to, or to a farm area. The only thing they have to do is to keep on working, not even know if they'll be able to get out of there and go back home.
Yeah.
So those situations, it's a situation where my appeal would be to anybody who wants to think of migration right now, let's utilize the situation we are in. We have become computer literate. Let's use that Google. Let's use that Meta. Let's use that chat. Find out If I'm crossing this border into Zimbabwe, what do I need? If I'm crossing this border into Mozambique, what do I need?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Rhoda, as we're about to wrap up the conversation, you work in communities with women. What are the areas that you work in, and what are your current biggest concerns around the safety of women and children?
I have worked in the area of migrant women or even local women in South Africa as well as Zambia and Zimbabwe and Malawi. My appeal is that the problems that we have had is we have had this culture of not wanting to find out what documentation is needed when it comes to women and children settling in their new country of migration. And to that effect, it actually comes to a level where a child not having documents or the mother not having documents in the country they go in, it becomes difficult for education. Even if a child probably would have been in South Africa where they were allowed to go to school without documents, if they come and write matric, how do they get their matric results? So we have worked with even the schools. I actually had been volunteering at 2 schools in the East Rand on Malvern High School as well as Hillcrest Primary School.
Yeah.
But the problem that we have, if you allow our people to bring in a child and ask them to actually, okay, now let the child go to school, you start working on the papers. It's that the time factor, they don't want to look at it. So by the time the child has come to write matric, the child has no documents. Mostly if you go to those schools, you find that there are so many results that were gotten and they have not reached these children. So you mean this child has gone through the 12 years of education and has no document. What does the child do?
Well, Rhoda, we have to leave it there. Thank you for giving us your time and your expertise and knowledge in this one. Thank you for joining us here on Channel Africa.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate, and I hope at least you can continue with programs like this so that at least those that need to be educated on these issues can get their education. But I urge people to actually come to a level where we should say, we can't go to the libraries anymore. Let's use the phones that we have and get the information. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rhoda, for your encouragement, and thank you for your participation as well. That's Rhoda Mudenda, member of the African Diaspora Forum, working with migrant women at the Isindiso NPO as well. And that's a shelter to rehabilitate and provide support for abused women. What is your take on this one? The issue of migration in relation to gender-based violence. What's your take? Give us your thoughts on our WhatsApp number, +27 634 69126. You can text us or voice note us there. Or if you're joining us live on our live stream, let us know what you think of this matter, or tell us where you are watching or listening to Channel Africa from. It's 9:30 Central African Time. Let's get our latest sports.
Download the SABC app and take Channel Africa with you everywhere you go. Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
And in this hour, in our sports update, we tee off with golf news. Xander Schauffele won his first title of the year after finishing one stroke clear of Max Griezmann at the PGA Tour's Bay Karen Classic in Japan on Sunday. The American ended a drought stretching back to his win at the British Open last year, which came 2 months after he claimed his first major at the PGA Championship. Schauffele, who won Olympic gold in Tokyo in 2021, finished on 19 under par after a 7 under final round of 64, containing 8 birdies and 1 bogey at Yokohama Country Club. He calmly rolled in a short putt to close out the win, then took his cap off to acknowledge the crowd and embrace his KD. Now, netball news. Spa Proteas head coach Jenny van Dijk has admitted there's still a lot of work to be done to help the team improve their first test series whitewash against Australia. the Aussie Diamonds dominated the final test in all 4 quarters to claim a 65-42 win in Adelaide, winning the 3-match series 3-0. Speaking after their latest defeat on Sunday, Van Dijk said they are eager to return home and work on fixing their mistakes.
Firstly, congratulations to Australia with a fantastic performance from their side. Moments that we feel we were right on point and doing a great job on attack specifically. But yeah, still a lot of work for us to get done. We're eager to get home and we are eager to really work, because a lot of the areas and the issues that we have felt and that we experienced on court doesn't have a quick fix. It's something that you need to go back home, draw into your players and make sure that the execution of it become better.
Van Dijk says despite the back-to-back series defeats, this tour was important for the technical team to assess players' individual performances and test combinations.
Learned a lot about our players, learned a lot about what players can handle what type of situations and what players fit what type of styles. And now it's our job to go out there, use the information we have to get our team ready and better for the next challenge. One thing I can say is the Aussie Test Series was definitely twice as hard as the New Zealand Test Series. And yes, that just leaves quite a lot of questions for us in how to approach and how to make sure that we prepare our players better.
Athletics, Ugandan Jacob Kiplimo won the Chicago Marathon in dominant fashion, breaking the tape in 2 hours, 2 minutes and 23 seconds in his second race over the distance. The half-marathon world record holder crossed the finish line 1 minute and 31 seconds ahead of Amos Kipruto of Kenya, while Kenyan Alex Masai was third in 2 hours, 04.37 seconds. On to cycling news. South Africa's cycling has a new world champion. Martin van Wyk has won gold in the points race at the UCI Masters World Track Championship in Robert in France. The 55-year-old collected 16 points in the 60-lap, 15-kilometer final, one more than rivals Daniel Rodriguez of Argentina and Patrice Hobby of France, who finished second and third respectively. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figure Lungwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Você é fluente em português? É apaixonado por rádio e quer trabalhar na África do Sul? Você tem documentos que o qualificam para trabalhar na África do Sul? Nesse caso, podemos ter uma oportunidade para você trabalhar no Canal África. Envie seu currículo e demonstração para Canal África at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Lembre-se, se você não receber alguma resposta nossa em 14 dias, isso significa que você não foi selecionado. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
Thank you for that sports update. Let's move on to get our latest business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thanks, Palesa, and good morning. The Democratic Republic of Congo will revoke cobalt export quotas from companies that fail to export allocated volumes, breach environmental or tax rules, or transfer quotas to third parties. The new rules will take effect on Thursday. The warning from the Congo Strategic Mineral Substances Market Regulation and Control Authority marks the resumption of cobalt exports from the world's top producer under a new system after a months-long ban aimed at curbing oversupply and influencing global prices. S&P Global upgraded Egypt's rating by a notch, citing ongoing reforms that have led to a sharp rebound in GDP growth. This is Fitch highlighted as the country's fairly high growth potential and strong support from partners in its affirmation. Fitch last upgraded Egypt's ratings to B in November 2024, when foreign investments and tighter monetary conditions helped to build stronger finances. Air France KLM's French division has suspended flights between Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport and Madagascar's capital Antananarivo due to the security situation on the ground. Air France says that the company is monitoring the situation in real time with authorities, and the resumption of operations will remain subject to a daily assessment of the situation. Affected customers will be notified and offered rebooking or refund solutions. The Southern African Fraud Prevention Service has launched an awareness campaign to help customers recognize voice phishing or vishing scams and take appropriate action to protect themselves. The vishing scam involves phone calls from fraudsters who cleverly manipulate the public into revealing sensitive banking information or to convince customers to use a link that will ultimately transfer their hard-earned money into a fraudster's bank account. Tutongobene reports.
Vishing, short for voice phishing, is a type of social engineering attack where scammers use phone calls or voice messages to deceive individuals into revealing confidential information such as passwords, credit card numbers, or personal details. This fraudulent practice can lead to identity theft and financial losses.
The Department of Agriculture in South Africa's Limpopo province has introduced a support program for small-scale commercial farmers and mega producers. Farmers have been encouraged to submit their financial support applications before the end of October. Department spokesperson Masupologo Mututsi says they will consider a variety of incentives, especially for emerging farmers. Mututsi says the farmers who have experienced a financial loss from the effects of climate change, including fire, are encouraged to apply.
The support that applicants who meet the selection criteria could be provided with are mechanization subsidy on and off farm infrastructure, livestock, poultry, EPWP incentives, and many more support.
$1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,461 naira. In Botswana, it's at 13.11. Kenya, 127 shillings 736. In Zambia, 22.52. The BRICS countries in Brazil, the dollar will cost you 5.19. In Russia, 81 rubles 42. India, 88 rupees 75. China, 7 yuan 14. And in South Africa, the dollar will cost you 17 rand 48 cents. 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Gold is trading at $4,053 and platinum $1,626 per ounce. Brent crude oil is at $63.63 a barrel. For any business stories you would like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business in Johannesburg, I'm Tabisolo Huku.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Start your day right with Channel Africa Breakfast.
That smells delicious.
Live 5 days a week. In this episode of Channel Africa Conversations, Peter talks to Dr. Tulisile Buddha, an academic, author, and an expert in indigenous knowledge systems. Join us for a compelling discussion on preserving African languages and traditions in the digital era. Dr. Tulisile unpacks the role of educators, explorers, and how technologies like AI can support cultural preservation, and challenges us to rethink how we honor African heritage. You can find the episode on YouTube, SABC Plus, and on our website, channelafrica.co.za. This episode is a must-listen for educators, creators, and change makers across the continent. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Get set and be ready to go. On the Move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
I
Hashtag on the move and connect with us.
It's Mahu featuring Deep Sen, Kiktongzin, and Mtunzing Limele is the name of this particular song. It's 9:45 Central Africa time. Continuing with our gender-based violence focus today, looking at people who are asylum seekers, migrants, those who have to move from one country to another, and the abuses they face because of it. And what makes me sad about this conversation is that the abuse starts almost immediately. As soon as the movement starts, the abuse can start with it. And that's the thing, right? We assume that maybe the abuse will start in a place that, you know, is unfamiliar to you, the country that you don't know, whose rights you don't know, whose legal systems you don't know, and also whose safety protocols you might not be familiar with. But even in the traveling process, especially if you are an asylum seeker and you are traveling because of displacement for whatever reason, just the travel itself might be filled with an astounding amount of abuses.
The problem is, just imagine that you are leaving abuse to go to fetch abuse.
Yes.
Eish.
And almost immediately, by the way.
Hey, and you didn't know that things are going to be precarious as you move on forward, running away from what's already a difficult situation. Eh?
You know, I'm glad that you brought up the labor abuse, Ben, because, the violence and abuse takes place in so many forms. Yeah. But this is one that it almost feels like we turn a blind eye on, right? Where I stay, just around the corner. So on my drive to work in my complex, I'll drive out, I'll turn left. And there's usually in the morning as I'm driving to work, a lot of women sort of sitting on the side of the road.
Yeah, looking for work.
We're looking for work. And most of them are foreign nationals, obviously just waiting for anyone to stop their car and say, hey, I need a maid for the day. I need this and that and the other. And so they'll just hop on for pretty much anything. And you can imagine how...
Just that narrative.
Just that narrative.
Yeah, it's like already you're vulnerable.
Already you're vulnerable because you can take them to a place they don't know. They don't know how safe that place is. They don't know what's going to happen there, wherever they're being asked to go. And pretty much anything can happen to them. But it's the desperation that people take advantage of. We see you there on the side of the road. And even when your intention is to work and earn money, there are people, unfortunately, who prey on that desperation.
Yeah, and the vulnerability is also you are desperate, right?
Yeah.
And the desperation can be misused by the other person to say, this person, I see their desperation, and hence I might take advantage of them, or I am going to take advantage of them. And that's sad that we live in a world like that.
And sometimes this happens for years. You know, people are like, but you've been in that foreign country for 5 or 10 years now. Why does this continue? Why haven't you woken up? Why haven't you? There aren't a lot of options, and nobody would choose to get abused, right?
Yeah.
And so when you question the options of those people, instead of questioning, the systems that we should have, society, and questioning all other things that impact abuse in these situations, we're actually becoming part of the problem.
We have a a good constitution in South Africa, and also we are aligned with the United Nations treaties that should protect asylum seekers when they enter a country like South Africa, right? But the problem is what our guest was saying earlier on, Rhoda, who was saying, look, most of the time people don't know their rights. People don't even know the administration that they need, or they don't even know which office to go to. And as soon as they arrive in South Africa, because they get exploited, right, no one's going to give them that information because they're getting something from that woman, from that man, that they actually are gaining because of the fact that they're in inferior situation or an unwarranted situation, right? So that's where the problem is. It is exploitative most of the time. And unfortunately, asylum seekers, refugees, and some migrants don't fully know their rights when they arrive in a country as liberal as South Africa.
Well, this conversation isn't just between us here in the studio. It's between us and you. So let's hear your thoughts on this conversation. Join our live stream. We are live on Facebook. That is Channel Africa on that platform. And on YouTube, Channel Africa 1. And of course, this is the conversation of this hour. But we're looking forward to engage with you on all the conversations in the next 3 hours. It's 9:50 Central Africa time.
We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet. Channel 628. Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K,
or more of our forests have been destroyed. Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. And join the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
Look what the hot body can do. Focus. Look what the hot body can do. Body be dancing, slow wine, so my body so fine. Like wash when I'm at her inside. 2 point and I'm at her inside. Make sense, oh, make sense. Oh my God, I need resistance. Fragrance running from a distance. Make sense, oh, make sense. Body be dancing. Controller, controller. I get in both for my holder. Make your body slow and I slow down. Put it on the low, no go loud down. You know the things I wanna do tonight. Unusual. Put it down, make it take away your peace of mind. You go flow like water, we get the freeze up like open your eyes and look. Look what the hot body can do. I say, look. Focus. Look what the hot body can do. Body be dancing, slow wine, so my body so fine. Like wash when I'm at her inside. 2 point and I'm at her inside. Make sense, oh, make sense. Oh my God, I need resistance. Fragrance running from a distance. Make sense, oh, make sense. Body be look. Look what the hot body can do.
Yeah, this one is definitely one of those trending sounds, been trending all over. It's Ira Star, Hot Body.
Yeah, she keeps the hits coming, doesn't she?
Does keep the hits coming, of course. And we keep the hits coming right here for you on Channel Africa. We'll continue moving. We're going to go into our African View debate in just a minute. And it's going to be a heated one if what has been said on social media is anything to go by, right? Yeah. And when you wear your traditional attire, what is the purpose of that traditional attire? Think about it today, right? I've been to so many occasions, weddings, right? So a wedding in South Africa that the two people getting married are South African, but they're wearing sort of variations of West African attire, right? And we're living in a more sort of global environment, and African attire is becoming, sort of everybody is sort of intermixing the different traditions in terms of attire. It's a celebration, I see, right? I see it as a celebration of Africanness, a celebration of unity, and even like saying, hey, I like that. I like what you guys do. I like, your attire. I like what it looks like. So I'm going to interpret it in my own way, right? But if you go to that particular country, there will be traditions and norms and different ways and different interpretations of how and why to wear that attire. So is it wrong? Is it wrong for, two South Africans to be wearing Nigerian outfits on their weddings? Is it wrong for two Cameroonians to be wearing variations of like a Zulu attire and maybe Ethiopian attire? Is it wrong if we don't really understand what goes behind that particular attire?
Yeah, that's the thing. The question for me is, have you done your research about that entire attire? What if you're wearing a gown that's for mourning at your wedding? Maybe you're wearing a gown that is representing a mourning mother at a particular wedding.
Now,
so the thing is, for me, are we just wearing these things to celebrate without actually recognizing that you're actually wearing someone else's culture, and you have to acknowledge why they are wearing what they are wearing? Have you done your research? Have you spoken to a Nigerian before you wear their garments? Have you actually made an effort to know why you're wearing what you're wearing?
Yeah, a lot of times probably not, especially in that like intercontinental, intercultural way. But even in our own cultures, right, we have now vast knowledge, as we heard from our first guest, and we know this vast knowledge at the tip of our fingertips on our phones. But before we even wear our own attire, now we're more globalized. We don't really know all the traditions, and the customs the way they used to be. And we wear our attire just, anyhow. You find Xhosa people wearing Xhosa attire, but colors mean different things. And nobody cares these days. Like, oh, these are the colors that I want. I'm just going to go to a lady who does this attire. They're going to make it for me. I'm going to look fabulous at that particular event, and everything is going to be great. But we don't do even research on our own traditions, on what the colors mean, the length of the attire means, all those things. So you can be a Zulu person wearing Zulu attire, Xhosa person wearing Xhosa attire, a Tswana person wearing Tswana attire, and everywhere an Igbo person wearing Igbo attire. But you might not even know the meaning behind the kind of attire you're wearing.
Yeah, the thing is, I know that we don't wear what we wear as Africans to look fashionable.
Yeah.
The aesthetic is not about the central theme. So what we in modern culture do is that we have this notion that I love the pattern. Right, that's the aesthetic. I like the colors, and it's gonna work because of the theme of this gathering. But then some blankets, you only wear them when you've actually went into a particular ritual for some people, for some cultures. Some skirts and headgears are only worn if you have children. Some beads you only wear when you are a virgin, right? Some pants that we wear in certain cultures as men are maybe before you go for a ritual in the mountains, and you come down with a different item after circumcision. We don't think about these things when we wear other people's cultures. And I think that's why it's so important to ask.
So we look forward to that African View debate taking place in the next hour of the show. Today's debate topic is, should traditional attire be reserved only for those who live by traditional customs. My question there would be, is there anyone really adhering completely to traditional customs in 2025?
The people who practice those customs, the people who practice those traditions, we must hold them dear. I know in our city landscape, we think that everything is easygoing, right? We in the city and we think, things are free for all. But in certain places on the African continent, those things are sacred to them.
Absolutely.
They hold them dearly and they're sacrosanct. They're almost like religious to them, you know. It's close to their own spirituality and their sense of identity. So when you whitewash that and you make it insignificant, what are you saying to the people that you are claiming to celebrate their culture? You're dishonoring them to a large degree.
But now the question is, are those the only people who should be wearing the attire?
It's theirs.
Eh?
It's theirs.
But it belongs to everyone
it's coming
as
up
well,
this
right?
Debate. I'm looking
It
forward.
belongs
It's
to
gonna be on
everyone
fire.
too.
Yeah, let's not start the debate before it starts.
All right, that's also going to be an interesting one. So please go ahead and start the debate before it starts. Go to our WhatsApp number, +27 63 406 9126. That is our WhatsApp number. You can send us a text. You can send us a voice note. We want to hear from you because this particular conversation belongs to all of us. As Africans, we all have our own traditions, we all have our own customs, and that is always associated with a particular kind of attire. So please do join us for today's debate.
Yeah, man, we're about to move into the second hour. Remember, we want to see you live, and as soon as you get into our YouTube page, remember that you can interact with us, and don't forget that you can find that live stream on YouTube at Channel Africa 1 being the handle. We're also live on Facebook, and so many of you have been coming in and out. I always appreciate you coming there. We always love having you there, so keep coming in. Let us know where you're listening to Channel Africa from. And we haven't really announced this yet. Let's do that now. We have a new website that's been launched, so check it out, www.channelafrica.co.za, and it makes your experience a little bit easier of touching base with the different things that we do here on Channel Africa. It's very user friendly, so go check it out. www.channelafrica.co.za is the place to be. We're at the top of the hour right now. Let's get the latest news.
Get the news, music, and lifestyle of Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective. SABC News, the African perspective.
Top stories: a fatal accident in South Africa involving Zimbabwean and Malawian nationals, and Hamas hands over some of its last surviving Israeli hostages. Good morning, I'm Jolani Tulo Webe. The Premier of South Africa's Limpopo province, Popi Ramatoba, will visit the accident scene of the fatal N1 bus accident that claimed 42 lives, including Zimbabwean and Malawi nationals. The tragic bus accident took place yesterday near Louis Trichardt in a mountainous section of the road. The Premier, together with various MECs, will visit the various hospitals where those who are injured are being attended to. Anna Masiba reports.
Emergency services, including paramedics, transport officers and law enforcement officials, responded to the scene last night after the bus overturned in the mountainous area. Rescue operations continue late into the evening, with several injured passengers being transported to the nearby hospitals for medical care. Investigations led by traffic authorities and South African police services are currently underway to determine the cause of the crash. Psychosocial services are being offered to survivors. Consular services from Zimbabwe and Malawi are assisting the affected families.
The Matlanga Commission of Inquiry in South Africa says it expects there will be some opposition to a request for some evidence to be given in camera. This morning, Commission Chairperson, retired Constitutional Court Justice Mbuyiseli Matlanga, is set to rule on an application for a witness to have highly confidential testimony heard in camera. The inquiry resumes following a week-long break. The Commission was established to investigate allegations of criminal infiltration, corruption and political interference in the criminal justice system made by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Ndlandla Mkhwanazi. Commission spokesperson Jeremy Michaels says some media houses have expressed intention to oppose the in-camera testimony.
Justice Madlanga, right at the outset on the 28th of July at our first public briefing, committed the Commission to ensuring transparency as far as possible. And so today we will have an application by the evidence leaders. They will make submissions to the judge and his co-commissioners to apply to go in camera. And I'm aware that there may be opposition to the application. We've had contact from the lawyers of a couple of media houses who've indicated that they may bring an application to oppose.
South Africa's International Relations and Cooperation Minister Ronald Lamola has described late Ambassador Nathi Mthethwa as a true Pan-Africanist who is passionate about peace for the people in Western Sahara. It is a disputed territory in North Africa characterized by its ongoing conflict between Morocco and the Polisario Front, which seeks independence from the Sahrawi people. Minister Lamola says Mthethwa's death has left a huge void. He was speaking on the sidelines of the late ambassador's funeral in KwaZulu-Natal yesterday.
Even before myself, with Minister Pando, he coordinated a number of engagements that were both bilateral between President Macron and President Ramaphosa. And if you could check the rapport between President Ramaphosa and President Macron is very strong because of that work that Ambassador Mthethwa was doing between the two heads of states and in between the two countries.
Former Seychelles Parliament Speaker Patrick Hermini defeated President Wavel Ramgalawan in a runoff election. This victory restores full control of the archipelago nation's government to its long-time ruling party. Hermini's win with 52.7% of the vote follows his United Seychelles Party's triumph in the first round of the general election last month when it reclaimed the majority in parliament that it lost in 2015. Seychelles is Africa's wealthiest country per capita, located 1.2 million square kilometers in the West Indian Ocean and a prime tourist destination. And finally, Hamas has handed over some of its last surviving Israeli hostages, with hundreds of cheering people gathered in Tel Aviv's Hostages Square. Israel's military said it had received the first 7 of 20 surviving hostages after they transfer out of Gaza by the Red Cross. The remaining 13 confirmed living hostages, along with the bodies of 26 dead hostages and another 2 whose fate is unknown, are also expected to be released today, along with nearly 2,000 Palestinian detainees convicted prisoners. Recapping the top story this hour, the Premier of South Africa's Limpopo province, Bobi Ramathoba, will visit the accident scene of the fatal N1 bus crash that claimed 42 lives, including Zimbabwean and Malawian nationals. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo Wepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
6 minutes past 10 o'clock Central African time. You are listening to On The Move right here on Channel Africa. Thank you for joining us. It's always fun having you with us on all these social media platforms. Hey, we're trying to give you multiple experiences at the same time. And the center point definitely is going to be our website as we move things on. And we're also going to launch an app very soon. So do check out our new website. We've just launched it recently, and you can have a full experience of what's happening here on Channel Africa. Remember, the place to go there is www.channelafrica.co.za. It's your website, it belongs to you, so navigate with it, play with it, check out the different themes and features there, and make sure that you are part of the Channel Africa experience.
Absolutely. Do join us in this hour of the show. It's time for our African View conversation, and this is a debate that we do every Monday. debating a contentious issue on the African continent. We're speaking about traditional attire today. And if you are an African, no matter where you are on the continent, there is a traditional attire probably associated to the culture that you are from. But the question to today's debate is whether or not traditional attire should be reserved only for those who live by traditional customs.
Yeah, that's a big one. So we're going to be discussing that one. It's definitely going to be heated. It was already heated when Palesa and I were just discussing it a few minutes ago. So if our guests are coming in, I'm sure it's going to be on fire. Stay with us for that one. We're looking forward to having you become part of the debate as well. So interact on our socials at Channel Africa 1. We'll put an On The Move poll on this one, and we want you to also be part of the conversations.
Hashtag On The Move and connect with us. Let the good times roll. From the 10th of October, make a note. Channel Africa is stepping into a brand new era with the launch of our upgraded website and app. It's easy, fresh, and always on your fingertips. Wherever you are in the world, Africa's voice is just a click away. The future of Channel Africa goes live from the 10th of October. Don't miss the moments. Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa On The Move.
This one is titled Dopamine Fireboy DML. In a bit, we'll have our African View debate, but now a short break first.
Es-tu préoccupé par quelque chose? Es-tu passionné par les questions qui comptent? As-tu une voix qui mérite d'être entendue? Eh bien, nous avons la plateforme parfaite pour toi. Téléphone-nous ou fais-nous un WhatsApp au +27 66 408 87 42 et nous te rappellerons. Sois dans la conversation.
Salut Channel Africa, ici Beno le diamant rouge aka Binal Export depuis le Cameroun, le pays des lions. Voilà.
Sois dans la conversation. Il ne s'agit pas seulement de parler, mais c'est ta chance d'exprimer ton point de vue, de partager tes opinions et de t'engager avec une communauté qui valorise ton avis. Suivez-nous sur les réseaux sociaux, visitez notre site www.channelafrica.co.za et préparez-vous à partager vos points de vue sur Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
Zizobuya namhlanje. It's going to be a heated debate right here on The African View. This is when we debate an African subject, an African topic that seems to be something that we get inspiration from, whether it's social media or what's happening in the current news. And then we kind of try to make it relevant for me and you so we can understand what's happening in terms of the values, the systems, or what we think about here on the African continent. Today we're asking the question, should traditional attire be reserved only for those who live by traditional customs? Africa and the global diaspora has that traditional attire which carries meaning, and it's woven into our history, our identity, and also our belonging. But the thing is, we live in a world that's evolving and it's changing, and it's shaping how our communities see things and how we actually see our garments, what kind of images they represent. Should traditional attire be reserved only for those who live by customary ways of life, or does it belong to everyone who identify with its general heritage? Well, it's going to be a good one, this one, isn't it? Already I'm feeling the fire here. We joined on the line by Akafo Okezie, who is a cultural education advocate, and also we have our guest who's joining us, Thabo Maketa, who is a cultural ambassador and fashion designer. Akafo is joining us from Nigeria, while Thabo is joining us from Lesotho, but now is based in Cape Town, so I think he's in Cape Town right now. Okay, let's start with Akafo. Welcome on the show. Thank you for joining us here on Channel Africa.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good morning once again. I am Okafo Okezie from Nigeria, representing the language hall.
Okay.
Yeah, this morning I must sincerely
thank
we members.
Akafo, we're struggling with that line.
Should I continue?
No, just wait a little bit. Let's see if we can sort out that line and get it a little bit more clearer so we can hear you. Let's welcome Thabo as well. Welcome, Thabo. How are you doing?
I'm very well this morning, Benjamin. Yes, the name is Thabo Maketa Kwinana, hailing from the Mountain Kingdom, currently residing in Cape Town, as you've mentioned.
All right, fantastic. You know what? I'm not happy with these lines. I have to be honest. Yeah. They're a bit distorted and a bit muted. Let's see if we can try these lines again. We're going to have a heated debate just in a few moments' time. Let's sort out these lines, get a bit of more clarity so we can start it in a bang.
Yeah, did you see what I like? I already saw a snippet of Okafo on our live stream. Follow that live stream. We are on Facebook Live, that's Channel Africa, and on YouTube Live, Channel Africa 1. And it seems like Okafo is wearing traditional attire,
nice.
That's good. And
it's very well themed.
Very well themed indeed, and maybe that will come into play in the debate that we're having just in a few minutes. So let's get those lines sorted and get that debate going in a bit.
If you know, you know. But if you don't know, now you know. Now you know. Now you know. If you know, you know. You think you ball us in town. Now you know. Now you know. Forget what I'm on them, man. Yes, how much is money? It's nothing. Ballin'. Premium or nothing. And them or nothing. Now you know. Now you know. Now you know. Now you know. Forget what I'm on them, man. Yes. Undisputed, unopposed, luxury or nothing, money is talking, blessings on blessings, forget what I know them, man, yes, Agbabola, how much is money? It's nothing, ballin', premium or nothing, now you know, now you know, now you know, now you know.
Hey, that's a big banger there with a big ball. That's the title of the track, and that's Flavor, giving us the energy of the debate there. And we're going to start off with our guest. Remember, today we are debating this big question today that is, should traditional attire be reserved only for those who live by traditional customs? And as I mentioned earlier on, we have Thabo Maketa, who's a cultural ambassador and fashion designer from Lesotho, based in Cape Town. We have Akafo Akezia, who is joining us from Nigeria, a cultural education activist, or advocate rather. Akafo, let's start with you, man. What do you think about this question? What's your take on it? Akafo, can you hear me? Okay, I don't know if Akafo can hear me. Let me start with you, Thabo. Are you there?
Okay. I am here. Yes, I can hear you.
All right, Thabo, let's start with you as we try sort of the line with Akafo. What side do you actually stand with this one? How do you answer this particular question that we've asked for our debate today? Should traditional attire be reserved only for those who live by traditional customs?
So my answer to that is definitely no. I don't even see in the day and age that we're in how that is even possible. And I speak from obviously the perspective coming from South Africa, coming from a country that we recognize 11 nationalities and cultural groups in this country. I myself am married to a Xhosa man. So when one talks about should one only wear attire from where you come from, and on top of that, only if you're practicing your culture, I think that really minimizes the reach that heritage and culture gets to have, and it kind of puts it in a box. It kind of almost says that it is reserved. It's a museum artifact, if you will. If people are going to approach culture in that respect of saying it can only be used for traditional practices. So I myself, I've taken the Basotho blankets. The blankets are very well known for their warmth, their wool blankets that the Basotho people wear. Then I took that blanket and translated it to garments, to scarves, and to capes. So for me, I've always spoken about love culture and share culture. And I can tell you, when I first took those blankets and cut them, the response that came back from what I would call the traditionalists of the Basotho culture, for them, they viewed it as disrespectful. They viewed it as you're not taking our heritage and our culture seriously. But for me, it was being able to take those garments and then now go overseas, now get to showcase them all the way back in 2013 in Vancouver, where then now people are talking about this little country called Lesotho, the Mountain Kingdom. We get to see the garments now translated in movies like Black Panther. So without us being able to take clothing and translating clothing and saying, hey guys, look at my story, appreciate the story, it is now translatable when someone can look at it in this manner and this way through garments. Then I can tell you more about where I come from and about my people. If I can't tell you my story about where I come from, then we will end up being a dying group of people because no one will know about us, if you understand what I'm saying. So for me, definitely, I completely disagree with the concept that only people practicing traditional culture should be wearing traditional clothing. I think it should be allowed for people from the culture, as well as those who understand the story and want to share the story from that culture.
Okafo, let's come to you. You answer this question for us, whether or not traditional attire should be reserved only for those who live by traditional customs. Where do you stand in this conversation?
Okay, thank you very much. Once again, my name is Okafo Okafo. Yes, should traditional attire be reserved for those who practice traditional customs? I'm of the opinion and of the view that yes, it should. The traditional attire should be reserved, totally reserved, for those who practice traditional customs. The reasons I have to justify my stand this morning is that cultural heritage is actually the backbone of every community and the foundation of our identity. The traditional clothing is a very vital part of every culture, and it offers a window into a society history, values, and traditions. For you to tell better where you're from, who you are, and your identity, your values, your norms, and all that concerns you, I think the traditional attire speaks volume, or will definitely speaks volume about it. And I have some of these points. There's one number one I tagged, cultural significance. Traditional attire holds a very deep cultural symbolic meaning, and it's often tied to a very specific custom. To every tradition, there is actually a regalia they are known for. So it is tied to a specific custom, rituals, and values. Therefore, when we restrict or the restriction of its use to only those who practice the customs helps to preserve the authenticity and the significance of the culture. You can't just pick up anybody from anywhere to come and put on the Isiagu, for instance, in the eastern part of the country. You can't just pick up anybody from any part of the country to come just put on a traditional attire. The value will be lost. The authenticity and the significance of that particular culture and tradition is lost totally. There is also we call respect and sensitivity. Yes, limiting traditional attires to those who practice traditional customs shows respect for that culture. You can't, the way I am representing the good people of the eastern part of the country, you can't just expect me to put on an attire. There's no respect for it because I might bastardize that particular attire. I might not put it in the right form or in the right way. So there is respect and sensitivity for every culture. So we must show respect for the culture and avoid cultural appropriation and misrepresentation. If I put on a traditional attire for another culture, definitely misappropriation and misrepresentation comes in. Then finally, I have on my list community identity. Every traditional attire I tell you this morning is a visual representation of the community identity. Looking at me this morning, you need nobody to tell you that I'm from the eastern part of Nigeria. So your traditional attire often is always a visual representation of the community where you belong and the heritage where you're standing for. Therefore, restricting it helps the youth to maintain and restrain or retain the community's cultural heritage. So I am of the opinion this morning that traditional attire should be basically reserved for those who practice traditional customs.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Akafo, that's very powerful in terms of how you put it there. And I want to take that back to you, Tabo, because it seems like what Okafo is saying is that, the integrity of the culture is dependent on its authenticity, right? What do you say to some of the multiple themes that were connected to that thought?
So I think first of all is the clarity between the clarity I want to define between people who wear traditional clothing must be only the people who participate in traditional customs, or we are saying it must be people from that culture. That's the first thing. Because if we're talking about traditional customs, for where I come from as a Mosotho, we are talking about specific rites of passage or specific rituals that happen. These are those things that also happen that form part of your identity and in terms of who you are and where you come from. So now, are we saying that if I am not participating in a cultural ritual at that time, I may not then take garments that represent my culture and my identity and walk into a corporate space that has a very white culture that's in there, a very un-African culture? Are we saying that I must leave those garments at the door, and then because I'm in a corporate space in Africa, then I must walk into that space wearing a German suit or a tailored European garment, because now I must represent that space that I'm in? Because now we're currently living in a space where we're saying we want to reclaim back our identity, but it's not now to say, okay, we're going to throw technology and innovation out of the window. So for me, I think, we need to clarify, number one, are you saying I can't wear the garments because I'm not of the people who wear the garments, or because I'm not practicing the cultural practices from that culture? Because then me as a woman as well, now you've thrown in a whole separate box. Then I shouldn't even be sitting here on the computer in some cultural practices.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to twist the definition between, are we saying the people, if you're Mosotho, I must wear my blanket. If you're not Mosotho, don't wear the blanket. But if you're Mosotho and I'm not participating in a cultural event, am I now being limited to only wear my attire at those cultural events and those cultural happenings?
But I think your two-pronged response with those questions is a point in itself. And I think we're asking it in a very loose manner there, Tabo. And I think it's a good countering position for Okafor. Okafor, what's your take on that response? Because it's completely right. We've been so westernized in our way of dress that are you saying that I can't wear a dashiki if it's from Nigeria because, it's Nigerian and I can't take it to the office and mix it up maybe with something more authentically Western, maybe with a jean or something like that, and maybe remix it as an African. What are you saying to that? Because we are highly westernized to a point that we don't even wear our cultures as they are even in our contemporary society.
Okay, thank you very, very much. That was a very good question. Whether we like it or not, culture remains culture. Yes, culture remains culture. Because of westernization, because of what will I call it again? Maybe globalization and how everything has turned out to be in our current day, people now misuse the use of some of these our cultural attire. If you come to a work setting or a workplace, every workplace has its own codes and conducts. Every workplace has its own ways, kind of. If you come to Nigeria, in the eastern part of the Nigeria, even down to the schools, we have a particular day, every student comes with their cultural attire. And they emphasize, even down to the national anthem is being recited in their dialects. And exactly what we do in Mapando Language Hub, we teach children to identify their culture, stand by it, speak it, and they should be able to defend where they come from. So the traditional attire holds a very, very integral part as far as culture and traditions are concerned. In as much as westernization is coming or blending, I can just imagine putting on an isiagu and I'm putting on a jean. No, it doesn't go that way. And that is why the bastardization of this traditional attire comes in. And sometimes people of recent time has brought down so low this particular traditional attire. If you have an occasion to attend, you are from the west parts of the country, everyone should stick to use their own cultural attire. That's my take. Everyone should stick. I'm from the eastern part of the country. Whenever I'm having, where I work currently in Nigeria, there's a particular day set aside for traditional wears. And on that day, I come with my full regalia as somebody from the eastern part of the country. People from the west also come with their own ashoke, like the Yorubas. They come with their ashoke. The Hausas come with their own danshiki and buba and the rest of them. So everybody to their own culture. And when you see, it's always very, very beautiful. Good. So I'm of the opinion that you know the culture you are presenting, put on their traditional attire and rep your culture with your traditional attire.
Well, we have to leave it there. And let me wrap it up with you, Tabo. We've run out of time. But how do you want to wrap this one up? Because Okafor is saying, hey, we should just leave aside the sharing of these cultural experiences for particular days and respect each other's cultures and be maybe mindful of the more cultural meanings behind these attires. So just in 30 seconds, what's your feedback to that?
Sure, in 30 seconds, not enough time. Look, my children are currently half Xhosa and half Sesotho. So as soon as we say each must stick to their own, already the next generation, it throws them off course to actually identify them. Who do they identify as? What do they identify as? I think for myself, culture as well has a lot of, there's meanings and reasons behind why we dress the way they do and why we do the things we do.
Yeah.
And even the elders need to teach us what the meanings are. And even for me, when I educate my customers on wearing the garment, I want you to know why you're wearing it, what it represents, so you can share the stories, share the culture. And so I think, unfortunately, if we move ourselves into a space where say, you from that space, you stick there,
Yeah.
we're leaving a very big gap for the next generation where they can get lost with their identity because we're going to go with that narrative.
We need to wrap it up there, Thabo. Thank you so much to both yourself, Thabo Maketa and Okafor Okezie, who are coming in on this debate really, really hot, and we'd like you to compete it as well. Should traditional attire be reserved only for those who live by traditional customs? It's 10:32 Central Africa time. Let's bring back Figlele Ngwati for our latest sports.
Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802. Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
We kick off with football news. Tunisia, who have already qualified for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, will cross swords with Namibia. The Group H match is scheduled to be held at the Stade Olympique Hamadi Agrebi in Rades this afternoon at 1500 hours Central African time. The Carthage Eagles extended their winning streak to 5 matches in Group H when they hammered a hapless Sao Tome and Principe side 6-0 away on the 10th of October. Tunisia also remained undefeated in the group, having drawn once and won 8 games. And in athletics, it's Ugandan Jacob Kiplimo won the Chicago Marathon in dominant fashion, breaking the tape in 2 hours, 2 minutes and 23 seconds in his second race over the distance. The half-marathon world record holder crossed the finish line 1 minute and 31 seconds ahead of Amos Kipruto of Kenya, while Kenyan Alex Masai was third in 2 hours, 04.37 seconds. Kiplimo, who finished second in his marathon debut in London this year, broke away by 30-kilometer mark and had built a nearly 1 minute cushion with 8 kilometers to go. And on to golf news. Xander Schauffele won his first title of the year after finishing 1 stroke clear of Max Griezmann at the PGA Tour's Bay Current Classic in Japan on Sunday. The American ended a drought stretching back to his win at the British Open last year, which came 2 months after he claimed his first major at the PGA Championship. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figlele Ngwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
Thank you, Figlele Ngwati. Let's bring back Thabiso Lehoko for our latest business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thanks, Palesa, and good morning. The Democratic Republic of Congo will revoke cobalt export quotas from companies that fail to export allocated volumes, breach environmental or tax rules, or transfer quotas to third parties. The new rules would take effect on Thursday. The warning from the Congo Strategic Mineral Substances Market Regulation and Control Authority marks the resumption of cobalt exports from the world's top producer under a new system after a months-long ban aimed at curbing oversupply and influencing global prices. S&P Global upgraded Egypt's rating by a notch, citing ongoing reforms that have led to a sharp rebound in GDP growth. This, as Fitch highlighted, the country's fairly high growth potential and strong support from partners in its affirmation. Fitch last upgraded Egypt's ratings to B in November 2024, when foreign investments and tighter monetary conditions helped build stronger finances. Air France's KLM's French division has suspended flights between Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport and Madagascar's capital, Antananarivo, due to the security situation on the ground. Air France says that the company is monitoring the situation in real time with authorities, and the resumption of operations will remain subject to a daily assessment of the situation. Affected customers will be notified and offered rebooking or refund solutions. The Southern African Fraud Prevention Service has launched an awareness campaign to help consumers recognize voice phishing or phishing scams and take appropriate action to protect themselves. The phishing scam involves phone calls from fraudsters who cleverly manipulate the public into revealing sensitive banking information or to convince consumers to use a link that will ultimately transfer their hard-earned money into a fraudster's bank account. Tutongobeni reports.
Phishing, short for voice phishing, is a type of social engineering attack where scammers use phone calls or voice messages to deceive individuals into revealing confidential information such as passwords, credit card numbers, or personal details. This fraudulent practice can lead to identity theft and financial losses.
China has accused the United States of abusing export control measures after President Donald Trump threatened steep additional tariffs on Chinese imports. A statement from the Commerce Ministry in Beijing said threatening high tariffs at every turn was not the right way to engage with China. The BBC's Stephen McDonnell has the details.
The words from a Commerce Ministry spokesperson echoed language from the height of the recent trade conflict. We don't want a tariff war with the US, but we're not afraid of one. The remarks, released by the Commerce Ministry in the form of written responses to journalists' questions, criticised US export restrictions on chips and semiconductors, as well as defending China's own export controls on rare earths as normal actions to safeguard national security and that of all nations. Unspecified, firm countermeasures were also promised if Donald Trump's latest threat of 100% tariffs on Chinese goods came into effect.
$1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,461 naira. In Botswana, it's at 13.11, Kenya 127 shillings 736, and Zambia 22 kwacha 52. The BRICS countries in Brazil, the dollar there will cost you 5.19. Russia 81 rubles 42, India 88 rupees 75, China 7 yuan 14, and in South Africa the dollar will cost you 17 rand 48 cents, 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Gold is trading at $4,053, platinum $1,626 per ounce. Brand crude oil is at $63.63 a barrel. For any business stories you would like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business in Johannesburg, I'm Tabisolo Hogu.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa. This is what memories are made of.
Love don't care who you be, where you there from. Love don't
On
care.
Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Annika Londi sur Channel Africa.
Comment est-ce que les militants et sympathisants du parti Les Transformateurs ont-ils réagi face à la condamnation de Succès Masra?
La condamnation de Succès Masra ne nous a pas surpris et les militants transformateurs ont été bouleversés et indignés étant donné que le verdict est un verdict lourd, illégal, injuste et donc face à la répression dans laquelle le peuple tchadien est confronté, les militants transformateurs se sont résignés de ne pouvoir pas sortir manifester. Et donc c'est une situation totalement absurde pour un pays. Et aujourd'hui nous célébrons le 11 août, fête de l'indépendance. On pensait que le verdict allait être plus ou moins clément, mais le verdict est sévère.
Annika Londi, tous les dimanches sur Mix Vibration.
We are up, we are ready, we are on the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama on Channel Africa. No interruptions. Just the music you love. The Midnight Snack, 12 to 3 a.m.
Our fitness coach, her name is Yvonne Dimakato Pasha. How to remain consistent with gyms, Dima, and I'm going to put you on the spot right now. As we are talking, I will send you my picture and I want you to tell me what you think I should work on. Because, you know, when I look at myself, Dima, I think I'm very handsome. I'm so good looking, like, oh my goodness. Like here at Channel Africa where I work, I think I'm one of the most good looking people ever. Like sometimes when I look at myself in the mirror, I never get used to how good I look. I'm just amazing.
You're okay with the way you're looking. You wish people could and now you want to put me on the spot.
Do I need gym?
Yeah. I mean, if you can just consider eating healthy, cutting down a few foodstuffs such as junk.
The Midnight Snack, every Monday, 12 to 3 a.m. with Chanduko Ligege. Hashtag on the move and connect with us.
Oh, what a heated debate we're having in today's African View. Gave you Kabza the Small featuring Msaki Kusela, but we continue with that particular conversation. Where do you stand? Today's debate topic is, should traditional attire be reserved only for those who live by traditional customs?
Yeah, no, it's a tricky one, you know, because how do you share your cultures if you are prohibiting others from wearing it or sharing it with others, and also owning it in their own style, in their own sense? But then in the same vein, how do you actually do that without bastardizing their culture, just like Okafor was saying?
How do you protect the integrity of the culture itself? You
Mhm.
see, the way that I see things is that, culture is also ever evolving. And there will be people, like you mentioned much earlier, that there are people who still preserve culture
Mhm.
in its way. And those people are named as traditional leaders for a reason, right? Because they're there to tell
community
you, or
members,
community members, but they're there to tell you the history behind things. But it doesn't, for me, it doesn't really matter who the traditional leaders are, those people who preserve the culture, because they're also preserving an evolution of the culture,
Why
right?
doesn't it
What
matter?
they
But
know.
it does matter.
Here's what I think, right? I'm saying you this because what they know, they might also know what is an evolution. And I know there are people who do extensive research, extensive knowledge, but those people aren't really, there aren't that many of those people in any of our cultures. And culture evolves anyway. Culture does evolve,
I
right?
disagree.
And I think culture evolves, and sometimes it's in small ways, big ways. For example, in many of our cultures here in South Africa, there's something called izithakazelo, meaning it's like your cultural poetry or your family lineage and how it's told. That family lineage or that particular those sayings or that poetry in your particular culture has an add-on from every generation. It's not just one stagnant thing, right? There's an add-on because of how the world
the culture
moves.
is meant to have an add-on. That's
right.
part of the culture.
Yes, but that is the evolution. That's why I'm speaking. It's the evolution of the culture.
let me
and
tell you why
when
I
different things
disagree.
happen,
Yeah.
the culture evolves in different directions. So let me finish my train of
Sure.
thought first, right? So even if the people in that particular culture are, taking on a different version of that culture, it can be what they understand to be the culture because of how it has evolved in their particular spectrum. So they are allowed. If I am a Motswana person and the culture has evolved in a particular way to get to where I am today, I am allowed to interpret that attire in the way that that tradition or that culture has evolved for me.
Okay, let's take a break. I'll respond to you after the break.
Okay, cool.
Call us on +27 63 406 9126 and contribute to the conversation.
Nkhanza zokhudza amuna ndi azimayi kapena kuti gender based violence GBV zikuononga mioyo komanso kuphwasula midzi. Zikuchitika m'manyumba, m'masukulu, malo ogwirira ntchito ndipo kwambiri mwakachetechete. Koma sizikuyenera kupitirira. Mukazimva yankhulani. Ngati mwakhuzidwa funani chithandizo. Chifukwa kusachita chilichonse sikuthandiza. Mverani kuma wireless onse 14 a SABC kuchokera lachitatu pa 23 mwezi uno wa Julai kuti mumve zokambirana, malangizo, masewero, zionesero za maphunziro ndi mafunso okhuza nkhanza za amuna ndi azimayi ndi akatswiri, anthu opulumuka ku nkhanzazi, kukhazikitsa lamulo komanso dziko lonse lokhuzidwa ndi nkhanzazi. Zonsezi pa wireless yomwe mumayikonda ya SABC. Imbirani pa nambala 0800 428 428 kuti munene za nkhanzazi kapena kupeza chithandizo. Nkhanza zokhuza amuna ndi azimayi zimatha ndi inu. Uthenga ukufikani kuchokera ku SABC.
Keeping you on the know and on the move.
All right, you are listening to us on The Move right here on Channel Africa. Remember, we have a new website, so check it out. It's fantastic and it's easier for you to use. We're creating a little hub there for you where you can get everything concentrated in one space and making sure that you get the entire Channel Africa experience on our website. So go to www.channelafrica.co.za. The debate was very stimulating, gave us a little of a difference of how to see this question that we're asking today. And coming back to your point, Bali, about evolution, right? There are certain things in tradition, right?
Yeah.
That are not meant to change.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that?
No, not necessarily,
In
but
tradition.
continue your train of thought.
In tradition.
No, I don't agree.
Okay.
But you can continue your train of thought, right? You have to continue, and so I can understand where you're coming from.
For me, what I understand as tradition and customs is that it's taken from one generation to another. It shouldn't be confused as culture. Culture is something that evolves. It's different from tradition. And what happens most of the time, we use the principle of what is a traditional custom, right? And we say, well, this thing must change for the sake of it changing. But that thing is not supposed to be changed because it's a tradition. If you change it, then you lose the tradition of it. But if something is a culture, cultures are more nuanced. It's like how we dress, how we speak, how we kind of interpret certain things. And it's like when you have slang Zulu, you know,
right?
It's slang. That's not the that's not the tradition. So you're not speaking the language of the Zulu people. It's slang. So that is a culture. And then you'll take the language, which is a tradition that the people of the Zulu people speak, that you can't change. But you have the slang, right? But it has nothing to do with the Zulu language in itself.
Okay,
right?
let me make you an example. Right, because I don't agree, and I never said that tradition should change. I said it evolves, and I'll give you an example.
Change,
no.
semantics.
Evolution and changing is not the same thing, right?
All right.
Because let's speak about lobola as a practice. So this is paying dowry. It happens in many cultures here in South Africa. In the traditional sense, when you come and pay dowry or lobola, you come with cows, right? That was how it was done traditionally. That is the custom, and the cows are real cows with 4 legs. But then life changes and the tradition evolved. So from there, they're like, okay, since many people don't have cows anymore and generations are changing, we can say that the cows can be represented as money. So the tradition doesn't change. The dowry, the lobola is still taking place, but there has been an evolution. And the evolution is that we can't bring cows to your house because you have nowhere to keep them. So we will bring money as representation of the cows. That is evolution. And now these days, even with money, people are scared, are saying, oh no, people can come to my house and actually break in during my lobola negotiations because they know that the people who are bringing dowry to my house will bring a stack of cash with them and then we might get robbed. And now we have to evolve further, and people are now paying lobola with EFTs to try and mitigate the fact that you can come and get robbed. That is the tradition. It hasn't changed, but it has evolved because the world has evolved. Do you understand? The custom itself hasn't changed, but an evolution has taken place.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't even think lobola is a tradition, actually. I think it's a culture. Just because of its history and where it comes from and how it was born, right? So I disagree with you just because of the nature of what lobola is for me. And how I see African tradition. I don't think it falls under African traditions. I think it falls under African cultures.
So what falls under tradition?
Traditions are things that don't change.
Like what? Give me an example.
Like circumcision, like rites of passage.
That has also changed. Now, the evolution of circumcision, for example, is that because a lot of boys have died on the mountains of circumcision, now they've added a medical circumcision. Now they've even taken practitioners like doctors and nurses to go up in the mountain, some of them being women, and customarily women are not allowed on those mountains. But because of the evolution of modern day culture and making sure that boys don't die on those mountains, they've taken women who are medical professionals up to those mountains for safety purposes. It is a tradition, as you call it, but it has evolved.
You say that, but I think not. I think very differently from you, even when it comes to what you are saying. I think because we've lost certain modes of the tradition in itself, we don't even know what happens in that mountain. So me and you are making city assumptions about what happens when kids go up to the mountains for circumcision. So we don't know. So I think that's a bad example as well, because we don't know what happens in the mountains.
Well, give me the example of what tradition is.
That's what I said.
I don't know what tradition is.
I said circumcision.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
And then, does it evolve or not? I gave you an example of
I don't
its
agree
evolution.
with you. I actually don't agree it's evolved in the way that you're saying it has. I don't think it has. You are saying that from a I don't know, like more of modern city perspective. But I don't
No,
think, because
I'm
I don't
not.
know. I don't know.
I'm telling about news sources. This is what we get in the news every year. People tell us in the news every year what happens in the circumcision, and then every year we might not know the innate customs that are happening there. But I'm just giving you an example of
that's what I'm talking
women are
about.
not allowed, but women have been allowed. We've seen news sources say, hey, nurses and doctors, some of them who are women, have gone up to the mountain because we need that evolution for boys not to die. We need medical professionals up in that mountain. Traditionally, that might not have been allowed, but this is an evolution.
All right, let's bring it back to you, the listener. We were speaking earlier on around traditional attire, right? Do you think that we should only reserve the right to wear traditional attire to whom the tradition or the culture belongs to? What's your take on that one? Remember, you can give us your thoughts on our WhatsApp number, +27 63 406 9126. You can text us or voice note us. We want to get your thoughts on this one. It's been a debate that we've been having this hour, very heated. Get your thoughts in it as well. That number is +27 63 406 9126. Hey, we're moving on. What's coming up, Bali, in the third hour? Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it's our fitness and nutrition corner. And usually lifting weights has been associated with men in the gym, but there are a lot of benefits for women lifting weights, even if it's not for the same purposes that men might be lifting weights. So we're speaking about that, lifting weights as women in the gym. That's going to be an interesting one.
All right, let's move on to our news. It's 1100 hours Central African time. Joalani, what do you have for us?
Download the SABC app and take Channel Africa with you everywhere you go. SABC News. The African perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin. Top stories: Isawa gruesome scenes at Limpopo bus crash site in South Africa, and the Madagascan president expected to address the nation this evening. Good morning. A relative of one of the people who was travelling in a bus that crashed and killed 42 people in South Africa's Limpopo province says the conditions of some of those who were critically injured is terrible. Shepherd Tivenge from Zimbabwe was speaking on the scene of the crash. He was coming from the Ilim and Louis Trichardt hospitals to search for his sister, who was among the passengers. He says he's now going to Siloam Hospital in Njelede, as he did not find her at the two hospitals he visited. Several passengers were critically injured and they have been taken to various hospitals in the Bembe district. Tibenge speaks about his search for his sister.
Went to hospital. Of course, what we saw at the hospital, it was terrible. People, they injured. I didn't find my sister. I think there were only 3 who were better. I managed to talk to them. We didn't find my sister, and then they showed us one who passed away there at the hospital. So I don't know, I'm going to win today or whatever, I don't know.
The Madlanga Commission in South Africa, which is looking into criminality, corruption and political interference in the criminal justice system, has adjourned following an opposition application to host proceedings in camera. The opposition application was brought by media companies Daily Maverick and Media 24. During last week's scheduled adjournment, the Madlanga Commission announced that it would bring an application before the inquiry to host the proceedings in camera due to the sensitivity of the evidence. Evidence leader advocate Matthew Chaskelson, a senior counsel, elaborates.
The commissioners are in agreement with that. We could answer it by 5 today. And together with our answer, we would file any written argument that we thought might assist the commission. And we've asked Mr. Du Plessis if his team would similarly file any written argument by 5.
Madagascan President André Rajoelina is expected to address the nation this evening. This after officers supporting youth-led protests said they were in control of the African island's paramilitary gendarmerie. Rajoelina had warned yesterday of an attempted power grab as soldiers increasingly aligned themselves with demonstrators in a move that has shaken the country since protests began on the 25th of September. His whereabouts remain unclear. The United Democratic Movement Party in South Africa, UDM, has expressed concern over the surge of kidnappings across the country. In the latest incident, officers in Pretoria on Saturday stopped a suspicious vehicle and freed a bound and hooded man from the back seat. The party said that the concern also stems from the kidnapping of its deputy president, Ngabayomzi Kwankwa, last year. UDM's acting Secretary General is Zandile Phiri.
The kidnapping of our deputy president, Ngabayomzi Kwankwa, was a very deeply personal and painful experience for the UDM. That incident brought home a simple but frightening truth. Crime in South Africa has become indiscriminate. If a sitting member of the parliament can be taken off the street in that way, then no one is safe. The key lesson we learned as the UDM is that even ordinary public spaces are no longer safe. People are being targeted in broad daylight, often in places they know and trust.
Scientists in England have discovered that thermal cameras can reveal a person's level of stress by measuring the temperature of their nose. Psychologists at the University of Sussex found that the human nose drops in temperature by about 2 degrees when someone is acutely stressed. The BBC's Victoria Jill has the story.
Starting from 2023.
That's me in a scientific stress test. I could feel my heart rate increasing, palms sweating, but a thermal camera also revealed that the temperature of my nose dropped by about 2 degrees. That test was carried out by a research team who found that thermal cameras can be used to measure stress levels, picking up this nasal temperature dip. It's caused by our nervous systems pushing blood flow to our eyes and ears so we can look and listen out for danger. It's a new non-invasive way to measure stress and monitor our response to it. So the researchers hope it will lead to new ways to help people recover and regain their calm.
Recapping the top story this hour, a relative of one of the people who were travelling in a bus that crashed and killed 42 people in South Africa's Limpopo province says the condition of some of those who are critically injured is terrible. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo Mwepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
The conversations continue. If you've just joined us, you missed out on a really great debate on today's African View, where we were asking the question, should traditional attire be reserved only for those who live by traditional customs? Had great guests speaking on it. Ben and I also had a go at the debate ourselves. But hey, the debate is for you. I think our guests did it
a bit better than us.
Definitely. +27 63406 9126. Your options are still there for you to give us your opinions on today's conversations, but we're moving on into the next hour. It's time for nutrition and fitness, and today we're speaking about lifting weights. Very interesting one there.
Yeah, man, we're going to be looking at the benefits of lifting weights for women. I'm always at the gym maybe 2-3 times a week, and I've always noticed that the weight section is always hogged by the gents. True. And the gents kind of take over that section. But other benefits for lifting weights for women, that one will check out. But I'm also interested in not like dongles necessarily, but like proper weightlifting. Does it have that benefit for our ladies in the gym? And what are those benefits? So we'll chat with the regular in our fitness conversation today.
We are still live on our social media platforms. That's where we would like to engage with you. We are on X at Channel Africa 1. Yep. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, same handle, YouTube, same handle, also Facebook, Channel Africa. Live, of course, streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. So let's engage on those platforms. And of course, our WhatsApp number, +27 63406 9126.
Hashtag on the move and connect with us.
I got them plenty, you know they feed for my back, so I put them in a Ghana Moscow. Big, show my yati, show ability, oh. What's my brand make us spend $1 million on you, As long as say you go there my side, oh. Give you money, yeah, go. As long as say you go do me, money, yeah, go. As long as say you go there my side, oh. Give you money, yeah, go. As long as say you go do me, nice, oh. Shower you money, yeah, go. sure boy, cause I come from Port Harcourt. If you got me, get lippy jackpot, not the dummy. Believe in action, eh. But on a Sunday, Monday, any other day, till I day for you. But on a Sunday, Monday, any other day, till I day for you. Oh my darling, Shinaman yo. Me I get a plenty, you know the feed for my back, so I put them in the can I must go. Big, show my yati, show ability yo. What's my brand make us spend $1 million on you? As long as say you go there my side, oh. Give you money, yeah, go. As long as say you go do me nice, oh. Shower you money, yeah, go. As long as say you go there my side, oh. Give you money, yeah, go. As long as say you go do me nice, oh. Shower you money, yeah, go. When you need a thing, call me. When you need $1 million, baby, call me. When you need a thing, call me. When you need $1 million, baby, call me.
This is Wanda Banton. This one is titled Ego. It's 10 minutes past 11 Central Africa time. About to speak all things fitness and nutrition after this.
Channel Africa and you have got something in common. The thirst for knowledge.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Raisi Yoweri Kaguta Museveni amezindua ilani ya chama tawala cha NRM ya kuanzia mwaka 2026 mpaka mwaka 2031. Taarifa hii ikoje?
Kweli kabisa, Rais Yoweri Kaguta Museveni muda mchache uliopita aliweza kuhutubia mkutano ambao uliohusisha wanachama wakongwe na hali kadhalika wanachama waandamizi wa chama tawala cha NRM, yani National Resistance Movement.
Na katika kuzindua hiyo ilani yake ya chama tawala, pengine wana Uganda wamekuwa wana yapi ya kusema? Hisia zao zinaeleza nini haswa?
Kuna hisia tofauti. Kuna wale ambao wanamuunga mkono, wanaunga kauli ya Rais Museveni, lakini kuna wale ambao wanasema kwamba amekuwa akirudia mara kwa mara hayo matamshi.
Darubini ya Afrika kila Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa kuanzia saa 11 kamili hadi saa 12 kamili jioni majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
You know what Ben saw at his gym isn't an isolated incident at all. In my gym as well, if you look around and you see the weight section of the gym, it's usually just men who are flooded in that particular section. Women are usually in the cardio section, doing the running, the skipping, other exercises with the dumbbells as well. Those are also weights, I suppose, but some of the bigger, heavier ones, you'll see men just going there. And you never see them on the other side either, right? The big arms and the small legs, we see you gents, we see you. Yes. But unlike some forms of exercise where progress can feel elusive, strength training is said to offer clear and tangible measures of success. And each time one adds more weight to a bar, they're reminded of their ability to meet their goals and conquer challenges. But these are usually seen for the more stronger gender, or for people who have the ability to hold those particular weights. We're finding out today about the benefits of lifting weights for women, and we have our Stodla to Skora Obakeng Fit Obi Makapane, who's a fitness enthusiast, chatting to us about this. Obi is a fitness enthusiast who's joining us on the line to speak about the benefits of strength training for women and how and when to start. Obakeng, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Palesa. Thank you so much for having me. I enjoy this topic so much.
Yeah, I'm glad that it is so, but what we see in the gyms don't really reflect the topic that we're speaking about today, because the weights themselves have been given, I guess, the concept that the weights are for men, for them to get those big, bulky bodies, those huge muscles on their arms, and maybe not so much on their legs. And women usually stick to the other section because we think that we're just not strong enough for those weights. How are we breaking this misconception?
I think the first thing to note is that there's this myth around if you lift weights as a woman, you're going to start looking like a man. It is not possible. The hormones that exist in our bodies and the hormones that exist in male bodies don't allow us to end up looking the same. And I think it's important to state that first before we start talking about strength training. A lot of women shy away because they're scared to bulk up and look like men. It's not something that can happen overnight. You need to be intentional about you bulking up and looking a certain way. So it is important that we understand that weight training does not necessarily mean you're going to end up bulking up or anything like that. Instead, what will happen if you start weight training is that your posture is going to improve. Your confidence is going to improve. Like you said earlier, the more you build up and the more progress you make in lifting the heavier weights, there's a self-confidence booster that takes place. It also helps you because you're building certain muscles in your body or you're strengthening certain muscles in your body that with age tend to become weaker. So strength training can help you have longer muscle strength in your later years in life. And obviously the body tones up through strength training, a mixture of strength training and cardio. So I think it is important that women do some strength training. Our muscles tend to be weaker than males, especially as we age. So if you want to age good or have muscles that will allow you to perform certain tasks, strength training is your answer.
Hey, Obi, let's talk a little bit about why is there that culture whereby you see that, the weight section is full of the gents and, it seems like the ladies don't even want to tap into that. Is it because of that culture that's in the gym section, definitely about that men are always bulking up and women don't belong there? What have you noticed as being the reason that keeps women away from weightlifting?
Benjamin, so I'll speak about my experience. So when I first started at the gym, I was very intimidated. I was definitely intimidated by how male dominant the weight section is. And I did not know what to do when I get there, because you find people who are lifting there who look like they know what they're doing.
Sure.
And you feel out of place because you're like, this thing might drop on my toes. Will I scream? What will happen? Will
Sure.
people look at me? And I think as women, we tend to criticize ourselves quite a bit, and we don't allow ourselves to be beginners in that section. So when I started off, I decided to just take the weights and go into a little corner and open YouTube and start looking at, okay, what are people doing online? Which kind of helped me boost my confidence. And when I felt the muscle pain, I'm like, oh, okay, it's because I did legs using this weight. When I felt the arm pain, I'm like, oh, yes, I remember lifting like this. And over time, I started building my own routine. I obviously started also learning a bit more about weightlifting and working out. And I did my training in HIIT instructions. So that also helped me boost my confidence. But I think women, besides the myth of them looking like men, they fear not knowing what to do when they get to the weight section, and they feel intimidated by how male dominated the area is. So you just have to get out of your own mind. Basically, you need to leave your own mind and say, this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to try. But also get a personal trainer. If you feel like you don't know what you're doing, get a few sessions with a personal trainer. They will help you around what muscles to work with, what weights, and where you are at the moment, where you want to be. Have a goal as to what your physique should look like or what you want to strengthen in your body, because that will allow you to continuously work on improving your strength training in the long term.
Obi,
it is important to have goals. It's important to get the help that you need. There's a lot of information online. There's TikTok, there's Instagram, there's access to online training as well. Get help so that you can get the confidence that you need to take on that section.
Yeah. You did speak about the fact that it can be quite intimidating, and that's so true, right? Women are essentially intimidated by that particular section. But one of the things that we're most afraid of is that we will have a masculine physique, right? And some women, and in fact, a lot of people go to the gym for a particular look, a particular aesthetic, a particular physique. And the conception of it, or the misconception is that, hey, if I go to that weight section and I do weights regularly, then I'm going to look masculine and bulky. Is this true?
That is not true. And I think I said this when we started. the hormones that exist in a female body are quite different to what exists in a male's body, and that those hormones allow us to build or shape our bodies a certain way, right? We all have different body types, we all have different genes, and your diet will also play a role. If you are bulking up, you will most likely have a high carb, high protein diet. But if you are on the um, deficit side of eating, which a lot of people are currently doing, a lot of women are doing, then chances of you bulking up and ending up having this male physique are very, very low. So it's important that you understand that men and women work quite differently. Their bodies are very, very different. And you'll notice that as women, we carry a lot of our body weight on the lower part of our bodies, whereas men carry on the upper part of their bodies.
Yeah.
So even when they train and they train upper body, they bulk up quickly. And if you, as a woman, start training your legs, you'll see that your glutes and your thighs start toning up way quicker than your upper body. And that's just how genetics work and how our autonomy as male and female kind of work.
Okay, so we don't need to be afraid of looking like men when we go weightlifting. We're chatting to Obakeng Fit OB Makapane, who's a fitness enthusiast, speaking about the benefits of lifting weights for women. We'll continue this conversation after the break. Stay on the line with us, Obi.
The rhythm of Africa, the pulse of the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African perspective. Yo, listen up. Channel Africa is taking the digital game higher.
Check it out.
We are taking our digital platforms to the next level. For you, our loyal listeners.
You know where we at, right?
New website, a fresh new app, and they're on fire. Anytime, anywhere listening, Channel Africa brings the African sound to you.
It's the bomb, yo.
Stay locked. The future is crystal clear with us. Your new way to experience Channel Africa is almost here. Africa, stand tall and get ready. Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
Let's get ready early for our fitness plans for the week. That's why we do it on a Monday, because this is when we're trying to get the inspiration for the week. This is our nutrition and fitness feature today with Obakeng Fit Obi Makapane, a fitness enthusiast, and always a pleasure having Obakeng on the show. Obakeng, the guys always go heavy. I've noticed. I'm not there at the gym yet. I'm still trying to trim down Lomkaba. So I'm always at the cardio section, the other side where no one is at. But, I've noticed that it feels like everyone is going for the heavy lifts, right? And that seems to be a culture, right? Should that be the approach? I'm just going to be general on this one because I don't want to genderize the conversation.
I think, a lot of males, unfortunately, I'm so sorry to do this, but a lot of men, when they go to the gym, they ego lift, right? And ego lifting means you saw someone else lifting heavier than you and you're like, I can do better. My ego, my pride, I'm here and I'm going to show you that I'm more masculine than you, which does not work, by the way. One, you are more susceptible to injury when you do that because you're not progressing at your own pace and you're not allowing your body to break down. Because the thing about muscle, when you build it, you need to break it in order for it to come back and build itself stronger and bigger, right? That's how muscles generally work, which is why you feel the pain and you need to rest, let it recover, and then build again. So when that ego lifting happens, the process you don't allow the body to go through the full process of building your muscle. And a lot of men will focus on the upper body and forget about their lower body. Then they end up having the Johnny Bravo physique, right? But what they don't realize is that long term, when you are in your 40s and 50s, you're not going to be able to maintain that physique. One, you won't have as much stamina as you would have when you were younger. But two, you also won't have the amount of time that you have now to build that body that you want.
Sure.
And you are older, you want to be able to do the day-to-day things like climbing up the stairs, playing with your kids, your grandchildren. You want to be able to pick up groceries. You want to be able to go down on your knees without you feeling funny sounds on you. And that's what strength training helps you with. I think it's gone beyond us looking a certain way, but rather having a functional body into your old age.
Yeah.
So even though people might say, no, lifting small weights does not give you the same physique. The most important thing is that you need to understand what your goal is. If your goal is to build a body that you'll be able to maintain long term, then you don't have to go hard every single week. You can maintain the weight that you're on, in a month or two, increase it, and then go back. It's more about building a body that will sustain you in the long term, rather than something that looks good today, but in 10 years' time, it does not benefit you. Instead, you have a lot of injuries, a lot of torn muscles, needing a lot of surgery, a lot of physio. That is not maintainable.
Yeah. I asked that question though beyond gender there, not because I'm kind of dismissing the woman focus that we have today as a theme. I'm doing that deliberately because what we do most of the time, we use that way that the gents lift in the gym as a standard. And I've seen ladies trying to do the same thing, and sometimes that can be very harmful. What would you advise the approach to be for our lady listeners?
I think the approach, first of all, do your research. Also determine what goal. Let me actually take it back. The first thing, determine what your goal is when it comes to health and wellness and your fitness journey. Once you've identified that, see what steps you need to take in order for you to get to that end of journey, whatever it is that you want to achieve, right? If you want to be stronger, if you want to feel good in your own body, try and incorporate different ways of training. So incorporate strength training, but also include your cardio, because you don't want to be looking good, but you can't walk up a flight of stairs. You don't want to be looking good, but when it's time to take a little jog around, or for the mommies, it's time to do the sack race at school for your kid, then you can't keep up. So I think find a good balance and don't try and compete with what the males are doing in the gym. Our physiques are very different. Our autonomy is very different. The way our bodies are built is very different. And genetics also play a big role.
Yeah.
So make sure that the things that you do are good for you and you're able to maintain it long term. Because if you start too hard now and you lift very heavy now, in the next 3 months, you'll have so many injuries in your body that you won't even enjoy weightlifting anymore. And that takes away from what you wanted to achieve in the first place when you start weight training. And I think this also goes for the gents. Find a good balance between weight training and cardio. Yes, it's good to feel like you are the strongest person in the gym, but you can't be strong and not be able to walk up a flight of stairs. That does not balance out too well. And make sure that you are able to adopt habits in the gym and outside that will sustain you long term. Fitness, unfortunately, the minute you get into it, becomes a long-term commitment. It's a lifetime commitment. It's not something that I want to look good for December, and after December I'm going back to my old habits. That is not sustainable.
So should we be looking down on the dumbbells or bagging? Because a lot of people are like, strength training means that I have to go to that weight section where the men are. But can you start with the dumbbells? I mean, those are quite easy and accessible to everyone, whether you think you're strong or not. How do we start this journey?
Yes. Start with what you have where you are. If you are at home and you want to feel a bit more comfortable at home with your dumbbells, your 5 kilograms, work with that. Your 2 kilograms, work with that. And the one thing I like these days is that the gym classes incorporate strength training. So you'll go to a gym class and you'll start lifting these weights, and that builds up your confidence. Once you've built up that confidence, you can then go downstairs or wherever in the gym section where the guys are and take your 5 kilograms or your 7 kilograms and start working out with those. It's a confident booster. It's a step-by-step process. It's not something that happens overnight. Give yourself the grace and allow yourself to be a beginner. We all didn't start by walking. We all crawled as kids, and then eventually we started walking and we got the confidence to then start running. So apply the same thing to your gym journey, and you'll see the results as you continue to grow. Your confidence will be boosted, your posture will be much better as a woman, and you'll feel very, very strong in your own body.
Yeah. I mean, you spoke about that the woman's body is a very different. We know that, there is many physical things to consider when lifting. What physical elements should women consider when starting to lift? I'm speaking this as kind of a warning to say, you know what, look after yourself as well. Know your own physicality.
Yeah. I always encourage women to not strength train when it's that time of the month, that week. One, because your body is currently going through a lot. And two, you may feel discouraged because you're not going to be able to lift the same weight you did the week before or the week after. So those are things that you need to be considerate of and allow yourself the grace to go through that part of your journey. Another thing is that when you lift as a woman, just remember that your form becomes very, very, I mean, it's important for gents as well, but I think for women, our bodies are very sensitive, so any muscle can be pulled at any time. So make sure that your form is correct in your lifting. Watch as many videos as possible. Like I said, if you can afford to, get a personal trainer. But I think there are a lot of women YouTube videos that can guide you as to how you should be lifting. If a weight becomes too heavy, it's okay to leave it and go back a step before coming back to the same weight. And also, your body is literally a dumbbell. I know this sounds weird to say, but you have to carry your own weight. Do push-ups, do squat jumps, do your own lunges at home. Use your body to get stronger before you can now introduce these external elements to help you progress further.
Well, Obakeng, you're always fantastic. We love having you on the show. Where can people find you online?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Obakeng_FitOB. I'm also running the Cape Town Marathon.
Oh, you are! Wow.
I'm doing the 42 kilometers. Please, guys, if you're on the road, support, shout. I'll be very, very happy to see everyone. This is my second time doing it. I did it
nice.
last year.
Well done.
The vibes are always nice there. And believe it or not, I did a lot of strength training during this training block, and I feel so, so strong.
Okay, now we need feedback when you do come back, and all the best for that one.
Thank you so much. You guys have a wonderful week. Take care of yourselves and eat well, move your body. It will all work out.
Love that. That's Obakeng Fit OB Makapane, who's a fitness enthusiast, and she'll be running the Cape Town Marathon soon. That's a huge one indeed.
Next year, Pale.
No, that's not me. Absolutely not. The benefits of lifting weights for women is the conversation we've been having. It's 11:31. Let's bring back Figle Lingwati for our latest sports.
We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet. Channel 628. Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
We begin with football news. Cameroon will lock horns with Angola in the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualification Group D match set to be played at the Ahmadou Haijo Stadium in Yaoundé this evening at 1800 hours Central African Time. The indomitable Lions returned to winning ways when they claimed a 2-0 win over Mauritius away in a Group D clash on the 8th of October. Before overcoming Dodo's Cape Verde had ended Cameroon's 5-match unbeaten run in another Group D encounter last month. Cameroon are placed second in the group standings, 2 points behind leaders Cape Verde. The indomitable Lions can only secure direct qualification for the World Cup in Canada, Mexico and the USA if they overcome Angola and Cape Verde lose to Eswatini on the same day. And the Stars of Africa Academy founder and coach Farouk Khan has given further details on 17-year-old Khomotso Madiba's move to Brazilian giants Fluminense. The youth international impressed after spending more than 2 months in South America as part of a collaborative initiative between the club and the academy. Khan expressed his delight at seeing the Under-20 AFCON winner secure such a move, even though he narrowly missed out on Amajita's FIFA Under-20 World Cup squad.
We were optimistic that he would make it, but in fairness, he's only 17 now. And I think a lot of the players that were in that squad or are in the squad are now currently playing for PSL clubs. So their ages are probably between 19 and 20 years old, with maybe an exception of a few. I think Vilakazi is probably, 18 or 19 now. So I think KG's still got a couple of years, but the coaches invited him to the initial squad before they chose their final squad, and they liked him a lot. But I think we have to be fair to the fact that he's still young.
Khan believes Madiba is destined to become a future Bafana Bafana star and expects Fluminense's academy set up to fast-track his development.
You know, when KG goes to that particular academy, I get goosebumps because he's hungry. You know, all he said when I empathized with him, he said, "Coach, I'm ready now to go and work." You know, he didn't take it hard. He understood that in life these things do happen, but he's going to come out stronger. And I do think that KG is going to basically miss out on a couple of stages. When he gets there in the next year or two, I think he'll be ready to be scouted for the national team.
On to golf news, Xander Schauffele won his first title of the year after finishing one stroke clear of Max Greisemann at the PGA Tour's Bay Current Classic in Japan on Sunday. The American ended a drought stretching back to his win at the British Open last year, which came 2 months after he claimed his first major at the PGA Championship. Schauffele, who won Olympic gold in Tokyo in 2021, finished on 19 under par after a 7 under final round of 64 containing 8 birdies and 1 bogey at Yokohama Country Club. He calmly rolled in a short putt to close out the win, then took his cap off to acknowledge the crowd and embrace his caddy. Let's end with the tennis news. American third seed Coco Gauff was crowned Wuhan Open tennis champion in China. Gauff secured a 6-4, 7-5 win over the 6-seeded compatriot Jessica Pegula. Gauff again struggled with a serve but hit 24 winners to 13 to beg a second title of the year and a first since Roland Garros in June. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figureli Nwadi.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Parlez-vous couramment le français? Êtes-vous passionné par la radio? Et êtes-vous qualifié pour travailler en Afrique du Sud? Envoyez-nous votre CV et vos 3 minutes démo en MP3 à @channelafrica.co.za pour avoir une chance de rejoindre la famille Channel Africa. Si vous n'avez pas de réponse après 14 jours, cela signifie que vous n'avez pas été retenu. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Thank you so much, Figi. Let's move on right now and get the latest business news from Thabiso Lohoko.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thanks, Benjamin, and good morning. Cocoa farmers in Cameroon have expressed their dissatisfaction due to a combination of falling commodity prices which have caused debt and a bean quality crisis. The harmonization of prices per kilo of cocoa has been problematic since last year, and they're now demanding a solution from the Ministry of Commerce. Cocoa farmers are a vital part of the country's economy, producing around 300,000 metric tons of cocoa annually. Pamela Komba reports from Yaoundé.
About 50 kilometers from Yaoundé, the Cameroonian capital city, and more precisely in Meki, cocoa farmers claim that the price per kilo was set at 4,500 francs CFA, which is about $8 by the Ministry of Trade, but it has been selling well below that.
The South African rand was steady in early trade as investors remained cautious about renewed US-China tensions and expectations of Federal Reserve interest rate cuts with the US shutdown entering its 13th day. The rand traded at 17.3175 against the dollar, about 1% firmer than Friday's close. The dollar index, which measures the greenback's strength against a basket of currencies, traded up 0.1%. African aviation is slowly evolving as new carriers, routes and funding flows emerge. The continent's aviation sector still confronts aging infrastructure, fragmented regulation and affordability barriers. The CEO of Frey Intermedia and aviation analyst, Desmond Latham.
We're almost back to 2019 comparative numbers, and we're growing 7% year on year, 24-25. So we're pretty much back to where we were before COVID, yes. We've recovered pretty well. Cargo, of course, continued flying, so that was a stimulus for many of the airlines that were battling with passengers in 2019, 20 and part of 21. But generally speaking, we are back in the saddle, so to speak, and the numbers are very close to where we were.
The Somali Tourism Agency has launched organised tours across Mogadishu and the southwest region, aiming to foster national pride and stimulate local economies. Improved security in the capital has boosted public confidence, making group travel more viable. Tourists visited Nemo Sand, a popular destination for camel rides and outdoor recreation. They say the atmosphere is perfect and it feels like a divine gift to be there. The agency says it currently hosts tours on Thursdays and Fridays with around 150 participants per trip. World markets found steadier ground after being whipsawed by broadsides since the US-China trade war, while US President Donald Trump has threatened 100% tariffs on China from the 1st of November and Beijing threatened countermeasures. He sounded more conciliatory on Sunday, posting that everything would be fine and the US would not want to hurt China. European shares opened higher, while US stock futures also firmed, although trading was subdued by a holiday in Japan and the United States. $1 Nigeria is trading at 1,461 naira. In Botswana, it's at 13.11. Kenya, 127 shillings 736. And Zambia, 22 kwacha 52. The BRICS countries in Brazil, the dollar will cost you 5.19. In Russia, it's at 81 rubles 42. India, 88 rupees 75. China, 71.14. And in South Africa, the dollar will cost you 17 rand 48 cents. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Gold is trading at $4,053 and platinum $1,626 per ounce. Brent crude oil is at $63.63 a barrel. For any business stories you would like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business in Johannesburg, I'm Tabisolo Hoku.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa. The 14th Oppenheimer Research Conference is fast approaching. Convened by the Oppenheimer Generation Research and Conservation, it's one of Africa's leading platforms for natural and environmental science, enabling young researchers to mix with experienced trailblazers to help translate their research into real-world solutions. From the 15th to the 17th of October, attendees will discuss topics ranging from land management, biodiversity, to wildlife economies. Channel Africa will broadcast live, spotlighting some of the African voices, shaping meaningful approaches to some of Africa's most pressing challenges. The music you love. The music you love. On Channel Africa, the African perspective. Get set and be ready to go. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
I look away for you. Team player, I lose the way for you. Look amazed for you. Celebrate with you. Team player, learning to love.
trendybeats.com.
It's a story of us. I slow it down, and I'm learning to love you over again and again. Wish it never ends. If you love me, why you put me through a test? Tell me why you leave me in a wreck. No, I only wanna do my best. Baby, when I let you crash, really wasn't in my plans. Team player, I only wanna do my best. And you let them laugh, still it never made me
No interruptions. Just the music you love on Channel Africa.
I know what I saw when no one was watching. I know what you said when no one was around. I know how you felt when you thought you were alone. You are who you say you are. I know what I saw when no one was watching. I know what you said when no one was around. I know how you felt when you thought you were alone. You are who you say you are. It's who you are in the dark. Who you are. You smile long after the crowd is faded. You laugh at the moments you've been proven wrong. You wait for the right words when your heartbeat is racing. I know who they say you are. But it's who you are in the dark. Who you are. Your reflection never tells a single contradiction. Your words never fall behind their intention 'cause of who you hide your face from the light because of who you are. You are who you say you are.
Starting off with Shekinah, that one was titled Fixate. Oh, what a beautiful song this is. Alicia Olatuja. It's a beautiful one titled In the Dark. Ooh, what a great song. I love that one. It's 11:50 Central Africa time. This is On the Move. We'll continue with the conversations in a bit, but we're about to wind down. Let us know what you thought of the conversations of the day. Have been interesting ones indeed. Our a debate feature, which is the African view, was speaking about traditional attire and whether or not it should only be reserved for those who live by those traditional customs. Also spoke on our gender-based violence focus on abuse on migrants and asylum seekers. And of course, just wrapped it up right now about the benefits of lifting weights for women. Yes, we can do it too. Let's keep going. This is On the Move.
Download the SABC app and take Channel Africa with you everywhere you go.
Africa, voici Abedi.
Oui, c'est moi.
Abedi est un passionné de musique dans l'âme. Il a un goût pour toutes sortes de musique et passe ses journées à écouter Channel Africa.
J'aime beaucoup la musique africaine.
OK. Devinez quoi? Channel Africa veut aider Abedi et les mélomanes du monde entier à découvrir encore plus de musique incroyable. C'est pourquoi Channel Africa appelle les artistes africains à soumettre leur musique. Chers artistes, n'oubliez pas de nous fournir toutes vos informations pertinentes à l'email adresse musique@channelafrica.co.za. Les soumissions sont votre chance d'être entendues, mais elles ne garantissent pas une playlist. Toutes les soumissions seront soigneusement examinées pour voir si elles répondent aux exigences de notre station. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
All right, man, we're about to get out of here. You are listening to us right here on Channel Africa. Remember, at midday Central African time, we are going to have Lulu Gabu with the latest news on the African continent. I always look up to that show because they do so many wonderful things, making sure that we are connected with what's happening on the continent. So after this one, we'll bring in Lulu to tell us what's coming up on the show.
They tell me this, they tell me that. They say my bitch, say she a bad. Anytime I knock with that. No rubber band, no rubber band. Every time I put down, they show me that. If I know loud, she got my back. Although you cool, I'm happy that. Although you cool, say everything I do is for my woman. Anything I talk, when you talk, I go do. Me, I know they see another girl for my visuals. Loving you, now in my ritual. My girl, got me, she no stingy. She give me love, so you want it. All of the moves you been practicing. Put it on, top me. Girl, give me love for my moto. Girl, your light in my store. She and me gonna must go. She know they acting on so. Say everything I do is for my woman. Anything I talk, when you talk, I go do. Me, I know they see another girl for my visuals. Loving you, now in my ritual. Me, I know they share my chain. I know they like your pain. But they make me sing. She understand my pitching. Like wangala. Oh, mangala. Abu Bakata for her belly. My girl got no problem. Oh, all of a sudden, she say me I go be Two Face and my colleague. Okay, my baby. Oh, all of a sudden, she say me I go be Two Face and my colleague. Okay, my baby. Say anything I do is for my woman. Anything I talk, when you talk, I go do. Me, I know they see another girl for my visuals. Loving you, now in my ritual. Amigo, claro, call Odo, call Anita, my baby. I give her one from the front, one from the back, on and on, they go on. Amigo, claro, call Odo, call Anita, my baby. I give her one from the front, two from the back.
This is Omale. This one is titled Women. You're listening to On The Move right here on Channel Africa. Well, as the On The Move team, we're about to get out of here this Monday morning. But hey, not without Lulu Gabu coming in to let us know what's coming up on today's Africa Update. Hey, Lulu.
Hello.
Happy Monday.
Yay.
Tell us what's coming up.
All right, vote counting underway in Cameroon following yesterday's presidential elections. So we get to see whether President Paul Biya will still remain president. So it's something interesting unfolding there. And then the living Israeli hostages are heading back to family and friends. And Donald Trump is, I think he made touchdown in Israel if he's not on his way.
Okay.
But yeah, he should be in Israel before heading out to Egypt. So there's a lot happening on that front. And also the Madlanga Commission to make a decision on whether Lieutenant General Kumalo's testimony would have to be in camera or not.
Why is that?
Because there's sensitive issues, sensitive matters that will be brought to the fore.
Right.
But there are two media houses that are challenging that. They want everything to be
Yeah,
public.
we want to see everything.
we want to see everything.
everything.
The question is, are we ready for everything? Because it might be a bit tricky there.
Hey,
so
we're
all that
ready.
and more coming up.
All of this is happening in our country. We're ready.
I know, it's but you know, some things shouldn't happen.
Of course, in the public eye.
Because if there's sensitive information that he's got, because all of them keep saying Khumalo is the one who's got the detail. So we need to brace ourselves. All that and more coming up on Africa Update today.
Thanks, Lulu. That is the Africa Update. In the next hour, that's from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Africa time. Stay right here on Channel Africa. It's 11:56. We're saying goodbye as the On The Move team. Have yourself a great day.
But she get the guy where they send her money from London. She they see me like a Johnny just come. My monkey they walk it, baboon he just the chop. Me I go chop all the washing. I